morning, everybody. My name is Ranger Bill Reed with the Last Green Valley National Heritage Corridor. We're out here on a chilly April 2nd morning, and I've got with me an old friend, Ed Hood, who's the Executive Director of the Opacum Land Trust. We're at one of their wonderful land trust locations, and again, this series is all about those wonderful places that you can go here in the Last Green Valley for some great hiking. This is one of those little undiscovered little locations, and we really want you to learn more about it and come on out here. We're in Southbridge, Massachusetts, just over the line from Connecticut, in the Last Green Valley. So I'd like to ask Ed a little bit about Opacum Land Trust. Tell me about Opacum Land Trust and about what you guys do and how many properties you have.
Sure. Thanks, Bill. Opacum Land Trust was founded in 2000, so it's 20 years old. It's our 20th anniversary this year. I'm actually their first paid executive director, but we've had a great volunteer board who have worked to conserve now over 2,000 acres of land. We have 20 properties in a 13-town area, and Claire Birtz is one of our flagship properties. We have four properties with trail systems on it. Claire Birtz is a sanctuary created in honor of Claire Birtz. She was an art teacher in the Southbridge High School, so a lot of people still remember her. A lot of her artwork hanging at the Jacob Edwards Library in Southbridge. Yeah. And she was an avid birder and naturalist, and so in her will she left funds to create the sanctuary. So the town of Southbridge worked with Opacum to buy this property, and Opacum maintains it now as a public passive recreation nature preserve, and we're fortunate to have it. It's a great trail system. We have supply map guides here when you come out, well-marked trails. Great map guide, really good. So we certainly encourage people to get out here. We have 3 other properties. We also have the Thompson Preserve in Southbridge, another smaller trail system. Then in Sturbridge at the junction of the Mass Pike and Route 84, there's this huge wooded hillside overlooking that intersection, the crossroads of New England. That's our 300-acre Opacum Woods property, our first large property, great trail system. Right. And in Munson, we work with the town of Munson at the Flint Quarry, another large conservation property with a well-marked trail system that we maintain. So those are 4 big public access properties. But our goal is to preserve nature, natural systems, natural habitats for wildlife, and for people to get out and enjoy themselves.
So tell me a little bit about how Opacum Land Trust came in and developed the trail system here. There's the 3 trails. There's the blue trail, then there's the white trail that goes along the water, and then an orange trail that goes further to the end of the property. You guys did a great job putting this trail system together. I was very impressed with it.
Thank you. Well, I'll credit the trail system. It was before I was involved with Opacum, but our local land steward, Scott Benoit, whom you know,
of course, yeah,
from the Last Green Valley. Scott is a resident here and knew Claire Birtz and was involved with the purchase of this property. So Scott, as far as I know, laid out that trail with Howie Fife and other members of the volunteer board. They're avid hikers, and they knew where to take people to see the best aspects of the properties.
Right. Well, the trail is interesting. We potentially went on the white trail down along the water because I knew that there was a beaver pond a beaver lodge down there. It's a huge beaver lodge, but the really cool thing is just about 100 feet away from it, there's another lodge, and it's like a double lodge. It's like a lodge and a lodge. We figured it was, a duplex condo rental that the beavers had set up, or maybe they kicked the kids out, but they had their own house. I don't know. But I'd never seen that before. And then you go over a boulder field, and I don't think I'm going to take Fran and the camera out there because it's not that easy to walk on. But then you come up a hill to this absolutely gorgeous pine forest. Huge, huge pines, and it connects back to the blue trail. The blue trail goes all the way through and picks up the orange trail, but that white trail is really something to take because you go through some absolutely gorgeous habitat. And there's also a fault line, this long fault line that runs down the side of the trail. I wanted to go up and explore up in there. There might be some places where, animals might hang out in there, maybe bobcats or something like that, but it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous spot. Well, the nice thing when I was here the other day is I saw a lot of great bird species. The pond, of course, is going to attract geese and ducks. I was really pleased to see what looked to be about 5 wood ducks in 2 different locations. One of them was a male and 2 females. The other was 2 females and a male. It was kind of interesting to see that. There's also a Canada geese pair on the pond also. But while walking through the woods, I saw a lot of dead trees with a lot of woodpecker holes in it, so great habitat there for our forest species, woodpeckers, titmice, chickadees, nuthatches, and the like. I tried to get a peek inside one of the holes, but I didn't see if anybody was home. But I made a picture of it, so we'll try to put that up on this film later on. When I send a picture to Fran. Talk about some of the habitat, though, that Opacum Land Trust is involved here and some of your other places.
Sure. Claire Birtz is a mature forest with the wetlands and mixed habitats and thrust fault, so it's got a great diverse landscape and habitat, but it's classic regrowth of the New England forest on an old agricultural landscape. You can see the stone walls behind us and crisscrossing the property, and we know in the 19th century this was all pasture, woodlot. Morse Pond was probably a natural stream in a wetland that was dammed, and there's still a historic dam on that. And it was used, it was flowed so they could create meadow in the summertime, and then they would store water in the wintertime to run a sawmill in the spring. So classic modification of the landscape by humans. As the forest has grown back, as agriculture left, we have across New England a fairly homogeneous age class of mature forests now. Right. So in fact, that has caused bird species become less diverse. And so statewide, there's now initiative to diversify habitat types for the benefit of birds. That often includes thinning forests, and in some cases creating open meadows so that other bird habitats will come back into existence. Opacum owns another property a couple miles away, the Morneau Farm. It has a farm and a tenant on it, so we don't open it to the public, but we do manage it actively for teaching landowners and foresters about habitat management. And so we have created a 5-acre clear cut within that forest, and it just brings in so many more bird species into the middle of this mature forest. And so this is a strategy Mass Audubon is actually promoting across the region. So for land trusters to diversify their forests through active management, and also dealing with issues such as forest health, oak die-off, invasive species. So the natural processes do need human intervention now to help keep them in balance with their historic patterns.
Well, I'll say that walking through this property and also walking through the Thompson family forest yesterday, not a lot of invasive species here. And I tend to find that where you're looking at larger blocks of forest land that are sort of not that close to habitation. So I did not see those types of invasive species like the bittersweet and the barberry and that sort of thing. The other thing would be interesting with that 5-acre patch cut that you're talking about. How many years ago did you do that, and what are you seeing now since it was done?
Just 2.5 years ago we did it.
Good,
and the regen, that is the natural regeneration of trees, is very, very strong there. The forester, Scott Garish, left some species that produce mast, nuts, and other things that birds will naturally forage on. So it's dramatically increased the number of species. We had Bill Cormier from the bird store out there last year. He counted 50 species of birds, mostly by the calls.
The beavers did some sort of a damming here, but that's kind of old. One of the unique features of the beech is that usually, though you see them all over the ground here, there might have been a high wind. A couple of big ones there. But I don't see a mother beech or the remains of a mother beech somewhere that would have been responsible for them. But what happens is the leaves stay on until the new, well, that's what's happening. The new leaves are forming. The new leaves are just coming out right here. And so as they come out, they push the old leaf off. So, when we were here a few weeks ago, you would have seen a lot more of these leaves still on here. One of the speculations, instead of dropping the leaves in the fall where there's a bud there, is that it's evolved this way to help prevent browse by deer. The deer will be more inclined to browse that tasty bud than they were this cranky old leaf. I think the whole inside is hollow, full of insects. Because he's got a long, long tongue, and he's chipped out this whole thing, and there's a little hole right there. And he put his tongue right down inside there. Pileatids will do this sort of oval shape. Look at the amount of, look at that, into the center of the tree. You can see the heartwood. And this is not the healthiest looking hemlock. It's still green on top. And look at the chopping. This is this winter. And he came back and came back and came back. That's pretty amazing. This is a good spot. See if we can get right in. See if we can get right into that little tunnel where the ants go. Oh my God! I didn't even see this side.
Yeah.
Somebody put something in here. This is a humanoid did this. But there's that hole. Perfect. One of the nice added features about the Claire Birtz location is this 40-acre pond called Morse Pond. It's right off of Route 169. And there is a landing here, and you see a sign, a big sign that says Claire Birtz Wildlife Sanctuary. This is only for non-motorized boats, so canoes and kayaks are great. If you're a fisherman and you like to fish from a kayak or a canoe, it's a great spot. It's a long, narrow pond, but it's 40 acres. There's an old dam right here you can barely see. There's an overflow there. Like Ed had mentioned earlier, it probably was a mill seat here somewhere for a sawmill or a grist mill of some kind. But it's another added feature to this sanctuary that's owned and managed by the Opacum Land Trust. So check it out.